No, no. No, this is not allowed. This is not legal. This is not okay. This is triple forge. Armor, shields, attack all coming in at the same time. Right in the blue. He's for Basilisk Gaming. You know what? It's herO. Upper left in the red. Sorry. Reynor's on the bottom side. The upper left in the red. He's not for Basilisk. He's for Dragon Kites Gaming. He actually is herO. Jesus Cristo. Meanwhile, Serral goes 15-15, and that means that despite herO wanting to get on the map and get a block off, it's not going to be possible. So Reynor goes. He gets his natural down on time in the natural. Well, actually, probably not even on time, or a little bit early, but he gets his natural down. And that means that he's able to go. And really, the important thing here is that he's able to go and make sure that he doesn't really worry about adepts as much. And on top of that as well, you don't lose as much mining time, because when your opponent goes and you're forced to take it at the third base, you lose mining time. It's like 150 minerals or something. I think a laser did the math at one point. It just really is. It's a pain. It messes with you. It means it's harder to defend adepts. That's also another thing. Let's see what happens. Certainly, the other kind of side of this is herO is one of those players that really loves his adept oracle openers, where he builds a bunch of adepts, right? In fact, he'll chrono out the second adept quite often, and then go and kind of hit with like 3 to 5 adepts and triple oracle and like multiple sides are in the same spot. And then he is one of those players that is not afraid to go for 4-gate glaives as well. In fact, it's kind of interesting. I was talking to Trigger earlier. I'm like, well, you know, how do you feel about PVZ? He's like, well, you know, you're not going to see glaives from the Europeans. Probably not. But herO, a classic, you know, these Korean players, they will absolutely 4-gate glaive. So one of the reasons probably why we see Reynor going for this 15-15, get the natural down, just making your life that much easier. As we talk about this as well, we should talk about, it's going to work. Is it working? Did I have DKZ herO as an eligible player? I did. Yeah, Reynor and herO are 8-6 all time, and in a best of 5, it thinks herO wins 3. Aligulac thinks herO wins 3-1 mean score. Also, well, in fairness, Aligulac also thinks that herO drops 4 total maps, goes 5-0, drops 4 total maps in his group, which is with Reynor and Dark and Maru and Showtime and Cyan and in Katowice. So Aligulac thinks herO's the bee's knees right now, and I think herO's very good. But does he 5-0 the group of death in Katowice? I don't know. Does he 3-1 Reynor on like the average result? I don't know. I don't think he's that. I think he's very good. I don't think he's that good. But for now, what are we at? We're at single or double adept on the map. Only one of them right here right now. He's bringing the second one on over to be maybe a little bit more. Oh, he's gonna get a creep tumor. Oh, this is nice. It's not a big deal. Certainly not, but it does slow things down. It does make it a little harder for Reynor to take the 4th base if that's what he wants. And now Adept's thinking about shading, and herO, there's no way he completes this. So just being a little annoying, you know, just having a bit of a laugh, little bit of a giggle. But we do move on here. Now Oracle thinking about going into the main base, but there are queens there, so herO's gonna commit to 1, but it's gonna be a ton of damage on that Oracle. So Oracle dives in, it gets a drone and a half, dives right back out. You know, the game does move on. Again, with the first Oracle, you're not trying to get a ton done. With the first Oracle, your job is just to go in. If you get a drone or 2, that's fantastic. But more importantly, it's the 2 Oracles. It's the 3 Oracles that work out pretty nicely. It's actually herO, of course, 3rd base timed out very nicely. But the thing we need to point out is that his Forge and his Twilight are on the same time. So this is going to be for +1 in Blink. At the same time, he's not going for like the really early herO style or the really early herO style of, you know, faster Blink, delayed +1. And the thing I'm asking as well, so we've seen a lot of players, MaxPax has been doing this a ton, where they go Oracle opening, right? Exactly what we see herO doing right now. And then they go into about like 6-gate blink with a third base. It's a macro build. It's not an all-in. And then you go into double Robo Colossus, but that's actually not what's happening. And well, there's nothing he would have seen that would have necessarily told this if herO was on 4 gas. But he's going to go charge +1 behind this, which means we should see a Templar Archives going down pretty quickly. Not just yet, but okay, it's going to be 8-gate charge instead. Totally valid. Very exciting. But we do need to see that Templar Archives go down. A charge lot by itself is good, but it's not great. And it's funny. We look at this build. I was Real Talk Strategy talking with Zombie Grub yesterday, actually. And she was talking about, she's like, well, you know, I've seen like 5 games in a row. Ooh, if you sting around here, this might be a canceled 4th base herO. Is he going to go for it? Ah, he's not going to get on top. And there's not enough damage to knock the hash down now that it's building, not in the face of queens. But she's been seeing a lot of this. And it's like, well, you know, technically this should be really good. Yes, there's a Roach Horn, but this is +1 melee lings. We are looking at 19 lings on the map, 8 queens. This is the dream scenario for this build coming out of herO. And she's been seeing a lot of this, and it hasn't been getting anything done whatsoever here. Now, lings are going to try to run through, but there's a wall, and it's an awkward herO. That wall is asking to get banely busted. That is the most awkward wall I've ever seen. That is horrifying. That cannot be allowed, but Reynor didn't see it or decided not to respond to it. I don't know, but the Zealots they're not going to try to get the 4th base just yet. That's kind of, I guess, minimum damage. They're going to back up on top of it. Instead, they're going to try to get on top of these queens. One queen certainly eventually should fall down. The Zealots, there's a reinforcing line. They're not really there just yet, so lings are getting on top. Oracle's sitting on top. It's getting a lot of these lings. And now the 4th base is actually killed. It's not a cancel. More Zealots now, more Adepts now running across. And because the rally distance on hard lead is so short, you would love to have a Warp Prism, 100%. You don't have it. You don't like really need it here and now. Well, +1's done, charge is done. These roaches are just not strong enough. Queen's on the backside. I think herO might actually just have this right now. The Sim City is really good. The hold position micro there from Reynor is really solid. By hiding behind the Ravagers, morphing is a really good thing. But a lot of queens just went down. A lot of queens just fell. And now, I mean, the problem we're running into as we look at this is the Ravagers are falling down. The 3rd base is broken. More and more drones continue to fall. The 4th base is not even a glint in Reynor's eye at this point. It's just a nightmare in Reynor's dreams. He's not going to have it whatsoever. Oracle's sitting on top, and herO's building more of them, by the way. He understands that adding this little extra damage now dives on top of the queens as well, and this really should do it. The queens aren't enough to kill anything anymore, and Reynor, he falls. herO takes game 1. So game 1, it kind of pantomimed just a standard blink stalker build, right? We saw herO go and it was quad gas at the natural, or you can't have quad gas at the natural, but it was 4 gas. You had the gas of the main, gas of the natural, and all of that says pantomimes this idea of it being blink stalkers. If you're mining off 4 gas, that is far more gas than you will ever need for +1 Zealot. And I guess part of it was he did commit some of that gas to going and building more oracles, which is always really nice. But again, the thing is that those oracles, that was not what killed Reynor. That was just, well, that was not what put Reynor on the path to losing. It was just what solidified the deal. So from that perspective, the gas was more of to hide the build more than anything else. The idea of the thing was to hide the build from Reynor, so he didn't really know what was happening. So he didn't have, until the Zealots ran across, he wasn't really prepared for it, and that means that this +1 ling idea just got punished hard. And finally, we're looking at a game where that +1 ling idea, where we see, just where the Zealots, I guess, against the +1 lings actually does the punish, because there have been a lot of games, I haven't cast them necessarily, but I've seen a lot of them where MaxPax or herO or some other Protoss player has the build, and then the execution's not quite there, and it dies to lings anyways, which is not what you want. Now, we're gonna have a Stargate opener coming out of herO in this second game in our series. Once again, it got a lot. It did something. We got like 2 drones or something in game 1, but it really was those oracles that killed a couple lings, but more importantly, provided that opportunity to extra damage on top of the queens, to knock them down. That really did mean that Reynor eventually killed Reynor in game 1. Are we going to see that build again? I don't think so. I think this is, it's not a once a series build, but it's certainly not 2 games in a row type of a build. It very much relies on pulling the wool over the Zerg's eyes. And in this game where, wait a minute, I'm sorry, herO, this is 2 games in a row. I mean, he's gonna fix it this time. He's got a pylon in front, but like, herO, this is the ugliest freaking wall. And you know what? There is some logic behind it. It didn't work out this game because the link got in, but there is some logic where it is a 2 structure plus a pylon wall, and you can put a probe or something in there to make sure that really nothing happens. You can keep an adept back home. So technically, you can go and you can deny deny scouting. All right, but it's also asking to get Bane busted now. Maybe by the time a Baneley bust would arrive, I mean, earliest Bane busts are what, like 3 minutes or so? Something like that? Maybe. Ooh, look at this though. So, I'm actually not, anyway, it might be something that herO's just kind of got it mapped out. So he drops a second gateway down in time, but look at that. No, this is not allowed. This is not legal. This is not okay. I was looking at this. I'm like, double forge is pretty cool. You know, you get +1 armor, +1 shields, you go like mass charge lot or something. That's pretty cool. This is, I can't zoom in on it properly. This is triple forge. Armor, shields, attack all coming in at the same time. And it's kind of fun, right? So one of the problems with Oceanborn is that it is very hard for the Protoss player to get aggressive on this map. You have this kind of high ground and the rocks that the Protoss player can't really beat in time, so Zerg can hold the high ground here. This pocket fourth is just defensive enough that it's kind of hard to break down. So what often happens in these games is the Zerg is a little bit unfettered in their growth, and the Protoss player can't do much, and then eventually the Zerg outgrows and it goes to a point where the Protoss player is just not happy. They can't keep the Zerg as honest as they would like. So herO's idea, I guess, in this game, herO's idea here is like, well, you know what? If I can't put the pedal to the metal, if I can't really punish the Zerg for existing, at the very least, I can be greedy as hell. I can get triple forge. I can get armor, attack, and shields. I can get immortals out. I can get a twilight. And just on this understanding that the Zerg's going to be playing greedy because I can't punish them. So I'm going to go and I'm going to punish them for not punishing me effectively. I'm going to go and really develop this tech. And I do like that. I think that's really, I don't know if it's going to work, but I think it's really smart. It's a pretty cool idea. So the first round of upgrades are just about done. 6 gateways on the way. The question now is, what does herO hit with this? All right, he's going charge first, which I do like. Oh no, the lings are getting, oh, the stalkers. Oh, this is not good. This is a big problem because not only will the stalker go down and lings find their way into the main base, it's a scout of the triple forge. That's a big deal now, and probes are going to go down. Mining time's going to get lost. Charge isn't done. This is an unmitigated disaster for herO. Reynor knows exactly what's up at this point, and well, knowledge is power. So he should see triple forge. He knows that there are immortals out. He knows that there was a twilight down. He saw zealots were on the map, or a paucity of stalkers, so he knows that it's not going to be blink stalker most likely. And this means now that he knows kind of what he's got to deal with. He's building a Baneley nest. He's adding it in an infestation pit. Now the problem is that this might be the wrong read. I was going to say it might be the wrong read because I think herO could absolutely hit with, what's he on? How many gateways is this going to be? He's on 8 gates, yeah. Hitting on 8 gate 111 charge a lot Archon, and I think that's with a couple immortals, I think that's a really powerful idea. I think that's a really, really strong idea. But herO is investing significant money into his 222. Into his 222, which is not what you're used to talking about. Which means that likely this is not going to be herO hitting on this big charge lot Archon immortal timing. Not impossible. It seems somewhat unlikely. Although again, with Chrono and the fact that all the upgrades are a little bit faster than they used to be, maybe I think his triple upgrades on +2 might be done before Hive completes. And that, I mean, hitting with 6 upgrades and significant army supply. The longer this goes, the more this is looking like a 3 base all in. By the way, we don't see a 4th base on the way for herO. He's not really developing himself into the late game as much. He's just really building up to this 2-2-2 timing. 10 gates, Immortals, Archons, no Storm, a Blink charge, just this really powerful. Well, as I say, that 4th base goes down, so maybe not. Although that 4th base does feel a little late. Like generally, again, I don't have a solid understanding of this triple forge build. I've never seen it before, so I'm relying on kind of assumptions on timings and things that may be inaccurate. herO probably has this mapped out, but it does feel like, you know, a well-timed 4th base for a gateway style Protoss player is, you know, 6 to 7 minutes. 3:30, 3:45 is when the 3rd base goes down. You get it a couple minutes later. Dropping it at like 8:30 does feel a little bit slow. Now, at Templar are on the map. There's the Archon on the way, but this army, this sledgehammer coming out of Reynor, might be a little bit too much for herO to deal with. It's only a fraction of his army available right now. Sentries at the front lines. One gets sniped very, very quickly, and herO has to run on over behind. Well, I can say he's got to run back over, but I guess for now, he's trying to set up a surround. Actually, that's a decent amount of Banes, but well, that's a lot of Banes. Actually, that's a ton of Banes. But the stasis trap's going to be solid for now. And again, the upgrades on these units are really, really good. So if herO can buy a little bit more time, if he can get his stalkers up because Blink is done, if he can build this army, but he can't have the Zealots at the front line. They cannot be allowed to be at the front line. It has to be Archon soaking the Banes, and now they're going to go. Now they're going to do so. As herO F2's back home, this one Warp Prism with a single Zealot inside is just not really doing anything. And herO just kind of making a couple mistakes right now, but his Immortal count continues to grow. His Stalker count continues to grow. The Warp Prism falls down, which is not what you're looking for. And now we see Reynor. He's still posturing here. But certainly the army that herO is making is getting progressively better. No 3-3-3 on the way. He's got to commit everything to his army right now as the Roaches, the Lings, they're going to try to get on top. Stasis Trap doesn't do a ton, but this attack, I mean, yes, we did see the supply of herO go down, but not in any significant metric. There are just so many Banelings in this army, though. And that even as we look at this and we might say, yes, it is. Oh, man, if he gets the Greater Spire, herO might be able to get the Greater Spire. That would be a tremendous add. Banelings are going to try to run in. Those Zealots have to stay on the back line. They're all going to get blown up, though, and that's all the Banelings really want. Even still, this Zealot run by is doing so much here. Greater Spire is done. herO's aware of it, though. And he's got this beef line. He's got this army of Immortals and Stalkers and, really importantly, Immortals and Archons just sitting here ready to go and let Reynor attack into him. Reynor, he's got 84, or he's got 83 drones. Sure. He's only on 2-1. He's got the Greater Spire. He doesn't have the money for the Greater Spire. Not just yet. If herO's able to build it, like, get one more round of Warpins, maybe, I think herO can go and do a lot. And the problem is as well, is like he's committed to this 3-3, or it's his 2-2-2. This triple forge upgrade. But he's not committing into 3-3-3 just yet. He can't afford it, really. The game has been too active, which means he's slowly but surely he's losing his attack upgrade. He's losing his upgrade disadvantage. Now the Zealots on the backside do nothing. Don't even lock things in. The Banelings were on the back for that one, so that's really not what you're looking for. Even still, maybe the Zealots run forward once again. Reynor's getting double attack upgrades, so this upgrade lead that herO has is again, it's rapidly going away. It's not gone, but it's rapidly being less powerful than it was. But even as this army is much smaller, it's like 30, 25, 35. It's significant. It's 30 army supply less. The value of this army from herO, it's 1,000 gas more. It's a pretty expensive army. So if he can, again, add just maybe a couple more rounds of Warpins or something. I mean, I think the big deal is if he can get Storm on top of this, his army is going to be very, very good. He's not really committing to Storm. We have one Viper on the map, but honestly, Vipers don't really matter right now. Not really. It's one Viper. Actually, they matter for the blinding clouds more than anything else, because a single Abductor 2, this army is so high tech that abducts don't really do a ton. So now herO, he's not maxed out, but he's close enough, trying to run it right up the gullet here as he kites backward into the line of sight blocker. Immortals are going to have all their hardened shields pop. Banelings are going to look for what they can, but again, Banelings don't trade the most cost effective against this army. Even still, there are so many Banelings that I'm not sure how much it matters. All the splash is dead, and herO, you know, it was an interesting idea. He was trying to style, well, yeah, no, it's not going to matter. He was trying to style on him, right? He was trying to do something pretty cool. Triple upgrades, not going to matter. Everything's dead. All the tech that herO's been building the last 13 minutes towards, it's all gone. And imagine, herO has like 1 less immortal, maybe 2 less immortals, but he's got 5 storms. He's got that better upgrade where he's got he's got that more complex tech, and it's like, well, maybe he wins that fight. Maybe he wins that fight. Then we go on. So Stalker's gonna have to blink backwards, but at this point, Reynor is far too ahead. Yeah, he doesn't have Brood Lords. He doesn't have that really high tier 3 tech, but it's fine because these Banelings, they're in sufficient numbers that it truly does not matter. +3 into the mineral line. Reynor ties the series up. It's 1 apiece. Man, Triple Forge is such a trip. It's so weird. And the fact that he didn't get all, I mean, I understand why he didn't, because it just felt too expensive probably, but stopping at 222 and then not really hitting a timing with it was the weird thing to me. It's like, it looked like he was building up for a 3 base triple up, like 6 total upgrade timing. It's like, okay, I can respect that. That seems really reasonable. Hitting a 111 timing with Charge Lot Archon, that seemed like a really good idea. That looked like it might work. But he just kind of waited there and let Reynor attack into him over and over again, and that just wasn't really it. I didn't really do what you're looking to do. So, importantly here, talking about changes, talking about different things. Reynor's not going 15-15 this game. In part because Solaris is not it's not Oceanborn. You know, it's not a map that is quite as painful for adept transfers. It's not as painful for, you know, not as painful for things. So, what that means is not as painful for like dealing with adepts and running across the map. And kind of the third base is a little bit closer, so the drone transfer's not quite as bad. Anyways, though, we're not seeing that. I don't think we're going to see the triple forge build from herO once again. That was not. It was I thought it had some ideas, but not really there. So, I'm really curious. We've had 2 very different builds coming out of here in these first 2 games. We've had. It was a Charge Lot Archon, or just a pure Charge Lot Oracle timing, actually, which was pretty cool. I've seen it occasionally, but not recently, actually. Just +1 Charge Lot, 8 gate. You continuously build Oracles once you got the upgrades down, and it's pretty cool. And then game 2, of course. Again, I think if herO made a timing of it, it probably would have been good, but just kind of sitting there and accepting the damage, it's not really a thing. It's not nearly as good. So we're gonna have to see where we go from here. What does herO have in store for us? For now, it's looking pretty standard. What we haven't seen actually in these 3 games in our series is what has kind of become the new Protoss meta, which is Oracles, quick third base, fine, Blink Stalkers +1, but going into this double Robo 4 Colossus timing, that's not all in. It's kind of the big thing. You get 15 Stalkers, 20 Stalkers. It depends on the game, really, and how much you're getting done, and how much the Zerg commits to links. But then you're building charge lots, and you're building Archons, and you're getting Storm and doing whatever, and moving into the late game and staying ground toss actually for the most part, and taking that 4th base. So it's not what we saw last year or even at Gamers 8, where you have this kind of 3 base all in, where you have Colossus certainly, but you're trying to hit this timing with like 3 or 4 Colossus before Hive is out and before Vipers are mass abducting. But the difference there is you're building this army that's good on top of the Colossus instead of being built around the Colossus. As these adepts are going to show up in the main base with no lings here, or not enough. This is going to be 2 dead drones, maybe a third. Certainly a lot of lost mining time. Yeah, okay. It's going to be 3 target. No, he's not going to get it in time. Okay, so 2 drones go down, but significant mining time lost. The cool thing about this idea that I'm pontificating on, that I'm not sure what's going to happen just yet, is there's nothing that... Who could kill this Spore hero? Yep, he's going to kill the Spore. This force the cancel remake. Yeah, he's going to get... Oh, that's nice. That's like 2.5 drones. That's worth about 2.5 drones. His Ling's on the other side, but there are Oracle, or there are Adept right there. There's an Oracle on top, and he's going to get a Probe, but that's about it. He's going to get an Adept. You're pretty okay with that. So herO getting pretty nice damage done in the early game, not taking much damage from his opponent. But the cool thing about this build that I'm talking about is the goal, you get enough Stalkers just to go and snipe Vipers down. You're being you're posturing the Vipers ahead of the Colossus, and you're really doing what you can to snipe the Vipers down to make sure that the abduct can't really happen. And then you're building this powerful army behind it. You're staying on 4 base. And then if the Zerg goes like Brood Lords or something, you're going into Sky Toss, but you're trying to stay on ground for quite a while. And this understanding that you can feed back the Vipers, you can blink on top of the Vipers and make it really hard because you're keeping the Colossus further back. Losing 2 Stalkers for a Viper is not a good trade for the Zerg whatsoever. So again, you're pretty happy about that one. But anyways, triple Oracle. They're going to find this 4th base. Is it low? Nah, I guess Queens are too close. So it's not going to be... Triple Oracle is not going to be quite enough to go in and take this base down. As again, Lings are going to look for the counterattack. And notice what Reynor's doing here. He's not... I mean, I do like the Oracles were able to revelate and knock down a lot of this creep, but he's not going and kind of spreading creep in an area across the map. There's no creep here. You know, there's like 1 active tumor, but he's not really spreading it. There's no creep down. There's no creep up here. Whatever. He's trying to spread directly to the Zerg or directly to the Protoss. And what I think what this means is that he has ideas about getting aggressive himself. Now, herO's going to try to kneecap that. herO is getting ready for the aggression even before Reynor's properly ready. He's got Lings on the map, sure, fine, but Blink is done in 2 seconds, +1's done in 5 seconds, +1's not even done for the Zerg player. There's the gateway on the south side to make sure you have reinforcements. The stasis trap's not going to get triggered just yet. Well, now it is. Okay, this is a little bit easier of a fight for Reynor right now because, again, no stasis traps, but because the Oracles are sitting there high on energy off creep, they should be able to kill a lot of these Link Stalkers, though. They spent their Blink, and this is a problem. A couple of them will go down. And now, well, again, this is not quite as powerful for herO, but this is pure herO style right now. This is the build that had him go at like a 95% clip back 2 years ago when he figured the matchup out before anyone else, as he blinks backwards. But because that gateway is so close to this 4th base of Reynor, that if Reynor doesn't do this perfectly, and he hasn't, by the way, he doesn't have enough, the 4th base is just dead. The rich gas base is just dead. And by the way, when we talk about this game, I love the addition of the Adepts, by the way. Doing no Banelings yet, so Adepts add so much nice extra damage against all these Lings. But the point being here is this map is not a good map for Zerg, for Protoss for the most part. That rich gas base is kind of hard to deal with. So if herO can take the wind out of Reynor's Serrals, or the wind out of Reynor's sails before anything happens, it's going to be pretty nice. But we're not properly enlightened Protoss here, so Baneling run-bys are absolutely a possibility. There are no walls really set up, but Oracles are aware of what's happening. They're going to try to chase these Banelings down. +2 on the way, Forge on the way as well. And herO, he's in a marvelous spot here in this game number 2, or game number 3. He's doing such a good job of, he knocks the 4th base down out of Reynor. He knocks out pretty much, Reynor wanted to go for some kind of Ling Bane aggression, I think, based on how he was spreading creep and based on how he was expanding as well. But he's going for all of this, and herO hits just a little bit too early. Stalkers blink forward, try to get some, they're not going to get the Lings. herO just hits a little bit too early. And now that means it really doesn't get a lot done. Lings are going to try to find their way on top of this army, but there's Zealots in front. There's a ton of Stalkers here. Oracle's on top. It's not going to get a ton. Run by also is not going to really accomplish all that much. And Reynor on this understanding that if he didn't kill a lot of the Stalkers here on the right side, if he didn't go in the middle, he was not going to be able to go and keep this alive. So he's got the 4th base, but his drone count is not all that great. 64 going up to 68 now. Now, you do have to worry if you are a hero fan, about how this game is going, because the Spire is just about done. Viper, or the Hive, is just about done. Vipers are potentially a thing. Lurkers are potentially a thing, although there's no Hydra Den. So this might just be for Adrenaline and +3, and moving on from that one is herO also transitioning. So he's got armor and shields on the way. He's adding in charge, which is just really nice, and with an army that doesn't really have a ton of Banes. And Robo. So eventually he's transitioning out of this a little bit, but this is an awkward blink. He's not in the best situation. Lings are going to look for the surround. These Stalkers are actually, I think they might have taken a good enough fight around. Banelings cannot make an engagement here, but man, you know what? These Stalkers are dying. They're dying very, very quickly. These Stalkers, they don't have armor. They don't have shields just yet. Banelings on the Zealots as well, and Reynor's taking a pretty solid fight, but here come the Stalkers now that all the Lings are dead. That last Baneling's not going to do a ton. Queen's moving forward, absolutely. But more and more Zealots are going to hit the field. We're looking at, by the way, this is only 9 gateways. You'd love to see herO get a couple more, but right now, gateway count seems to be, he's actually banking 1,000. Okay, there's the 9 Stalkers. So it's not a Zest bank. He's actually, well, it is a Zest bank. He's not actually banking that much. He's got 9 more Stalkers ready. More stasis traps on the map. Baneler getting warped here for Reynor, but he really has to make this hold happen. He's only on 4 hatches. He's got his Hive done, sure, but he's really not seeing any benefit from really whatsoever. There's no Infestors on the map. There's no Vipers on the way. Adrenal Glands aren't done. Those are some good Baneling connections, though. herO kind of makes a bit of a mistake there. YOLO's on into it, but now there are really no Banelings in this army. Zealots are now ready to join the fray again because there are no Banes. And one Oracle fell down, but again, this extra damage on top, this extra map control on top is such a big deal. herO, though, trying to punch through as the army supply of Reynor gets just a little bit better, and just a little bit better, and just a little bit better as the bile doesn't quite land. And here's the part of the problem right now. We're looking at the larva count. There's none. All the queens are at the front line. So yeah, the army supply of Reynor is starting to inch its way up just a little bit. But as these queens have to stay on the front line defensively, there's no injects on the hatches. So the larva count here is not really all that good. It over time, as herO can continue to have these warp-ins, Reynor's going to struggle to be able to build the army that he wants. And by the way, there are transitions behind this. The Robo was nice for the Warp Prism, but it's also for disruptors. It's also for these units that are really solid against the Roaches and the Ravagers and this clumped up army, especially as we're sitting in this position where herO's kind of sitting in the choke, forcing Reynor to attack into him. There's not if you send a disruptor from the choke, there's really not a lot of room to retreat from, as these Zealots again on the flank get just run right into Banelings. Reynor's doing such a solid job of that. But the Ravagers, they continue to fall down. Zealots will get dealt with ever so slowly, and Reynor, herO again doesn't really want to go to +3. His disruptor shot, this might be a big deal. It's actually not. It doesn't really hit all that well. hero's spending all of his money on this aggression. Man, these stasis traps are making it so hard for Reynor to hit this around that he wants. In fact, he's walled off. This is beautiful. Now, I think the Warp Prism went down, right? Yeah, the Warp Prism went down to the Biles, but this situation now that herO has with this just such a free force field means that a lot of stuff is going to go down. All this Stalkers, they're going to blink forward on top of the Banes. That's not all that good. herO with the YOLO isn't going to be enough. I'm actually not totally sure. Ling's coming in from the backside. Disruptor will fall, and herO, he went from 0 to hero to 0 all over again. The Zealots are going to they're going to get queens, but not much more than that. And that blink forward on top of a bunch of Banes, I think that may have just bopped herO out of this game. Or at the very least, caused this game to go on for quite a bit longer, because all of a sudden, Reynor's up 40 army supply. He's got his +3 on the way. Adrenal's done. And yeah, herO, we talk about him as this, he's certainly the best Protoss player in Korea. Best offline Protoss player, because we don't ever get max packs offline. But if there's one thing that herO does more than any other Protoss player, is he blinks into positions that he really shouldn't have. He's got a killer instinct, but sometimes that killer instinct kills him instead. That's not what you want. So Ling's on the right side. This base is not really going to survive. These are +3 cracklings, or +2 cracklings, soon to be +3. Colossus on the right side might do something, but the Banelings are going to kill all the Zealots. Lings are doing a really nice job, and hero's down below 100 supply. This Colossus is not good. And by the way, this was a game that herO was winning. This is a game that herO was gonna win. And then he blinks all of his Colossus into just herO. He's dead now, just so we're clear. He is absolutely dead in this game. 150 supply to 88 is not much of anything. But like, this was his game. He should have won this game. He should have won this game. And again, that was herO's game 3 was herO's game to win. Absolutely was. He was trading better. The supplies were equal. He has 5th base on the way. Reynor didn't have any space to go for a run by. Didn't have really any space to do anything. Oh, okay. herO doesn't quite block it, but he delays the pool just a little bit. Not going to make a difference, but you know, just the mental wins, right? Just to frustrate your opponent just a little bit. By the way, as we get into Game 4 of this series, if you like what I do and you want more Starcraft action and more Stormgate action, you should go and you should hit the follow button because it's worth doing. Doing some pretty cool stuff. Also, I've got a pretty cool stream. I haven't done the official announcement yet because I need to build a graphic for it. Didn't have time today, but on February 5th from 2 p.m. Eastern to like 10 o'clock at night, we're gonna have a break in the middle, but we're having a Stormgate Steam Next Fest launch party officially endorsed by Frost Giant. So we're gonna have dev interviews. We're gonna have co-ops. I'm gonna play co-op with Steadfast and Up a Tree. We're gonna be playing some co-op with some AoE guys. We're gonna be getting we're gonna have some noob games where we're gonna have, you know, some esports people I know that have not played any RTS that we're gonna inflict Stormgate upon them and have them learn in real time. We're gonna do some ladder play probably. We're gonna take a look at some pro replays. It's gonna be a lot of fun. Very, very excited for that one. And I know the games that I've been putting out, the Devastator builds have been a little polarizing because they're it's hard to see what's happening sometimes. But the changes that they made to the new build are fantastic. Not saying 10 out of 10 because it is still a beta, but they made some really, really good improvements. So we talk about this game, herO. We talked about game 1 or game 2 or game 3 of this series. I was talking about how, you know, the Western Protoss for the most part, they don't go for Glaives builds, but herO is one of those Protoss players that does. Well, herO's going for a Glaive build in game 3 on Hecate is not the most Glaive map, to be totally honest, and this was a map Reynor went 15-15 on, so he's got his natural set up. He's gonna have creep between the natural and the third really nicely. What all of this means is that unlike the balance of maps that Glaives are really, really good on, this is not one of them as much. It's fine, and Reynor and herO's herO, and he can do things, but it's not as, you know, it's not the optimal map for it, I guess. Which may be one of the reasons why you do it as herO, honestly. You catch your opponent off guard. Reynor might be expecting herO to do something not the Glaive build. So, you know, you don't defend it against it properly, you don't prepare against it properly, and then value happens. So 3 gateways on the way. Glaives 2/3 of the way done. This, of course, with this, you move across the map at 4:30. You hit it like right around 5 minutes or so. That's how the build goes. And ideally, yeah, Reynor. So he's getting himself prepped for it. He's got a Roach Warren on the way. He's going up to about 41 drones is the number you look for. 32 on minerals, 9 on gas. So 3 gas, 2 mineral or 2 base mineral saturation. You pump Lings until the Roach Warren's done, and then you build Roaches, and theoretically you should be able to defend it. Now, just because you know the build doesn't necessarily mean that you're able to go, and it doesn't mean you're able to actually hold it. So the Adepts are going to arrive right now, and the Queens are a little exposed. So if you can go and you can snipe some Queens, that is fantastic. With the Adepts, they don't want to commit to the shade. Oh no, they're going to go anyways. herO thinks he's found a choke, and you know what? He actually has. Yeah, the Lings were on a surround, but it wasn't really a surround. Warp Prism's going to go down, though. That's a disaster. That's such a problem, but the Adepts are still winning the fight of the natural. The Lings are falling down, and more have to get made. As much of a disaster as it is that this Warp Prism has fallen down, there is not a lot here to defend. So Roaches are going to pop out now, but it's only 4 of them. The Adepts can kind of take this fight. Reynor's going to lose some Roaches as well, and all of a sudden, this is a problem. This is a significant problem. Adepts into the 3rd base as well. Luckily, there's nothing here. Luckily, there's nothing really available. And, you know, Reynor may have been expecting Oracle play. I'm not sure. You also, of course, get spores like this if you're worried about the DT follow-up, but Reynor's kind of realized that he's got his opponent on the back foot, so he's got another Warp Prism. He built that up. He's got more Adepts that are going to look to shade force. Actually, he's going to get a Queen, maybe. Maybe gets a queen. Certainly lots of queen energy is going to go down. This queen's dead anyways. Yeah, this is actually so nice. Knocking the queens down really removes a lot of the defense coming out of Reynor. But he's understood what's happening in this game. He's like, I got a really nice timing. I'm starting the Zerg player's on the back foot a little bit. Although this is not good. The immortal that has been made, there is one of them on the map. Lings find their way onto the other side. Immortal's gonna get sniped. I was gonna talk about how this is pretty solid, you know? This is chain the main base at the same time. So even as Reynor gets value, he's gonna lose a lot here. This is he's lost a queen. There's a lot of dead workers that should fall. Even as herO loses more in the main base. But again, adding those immortals, going into this all in behind this is a really nice idea coming out of herO, just making, because he knows that he's got his opponent reeling. But now that he's lost that immortal, he can't hit with 2 immortals anymore. So he's adding a Robo Bay. He's going to add, it looked like he was posturing for a 3rd base, but I think that probe went, yeah, I guess the probe went down. So posturing for the triangular 3rd now. But okay. herO's on the understanding that he's not going to kill Reynor right now. He got a lot of damage. He did a really good job of getting that damage done. But because he lost that immortal again, the timing was slowed down. So Blink's on the way. He's adding disruptors on top of this. He's got his 3rd base. Now, that's not to say he's not just going to run across the map and execute herO in this game. I think it's still a very real possibility. herO did a lot of damage. This was 12 dead drones, 2 queens going down, 51 lings. So there's a very real possibility that he just runs across the map and executes Reynor. But he does have a follow-up. So for now, lings are going to try to get on top of this army. Adepts considering the shade, but it really, what it does, it forces herO to not have Reynor to not have his entire army together. Biles don't really land, and these force fields are pretty solid. So a lot of the roaches are going to get sectioned out here at the front. 2nd round of force fields also doing really nice here. Some more roaches go down. And now the adepts complete their shade. It's a little awkward. The immortals do have to run, and the sentries are gonna fall, but they're out of energy anyway, so it doesn't really matter. And there's more warpins. Stalkers are gonna warp in this time. Adepts stay on top of these drones, and at this point, it doesn't really feel like there's a lot that Reynor can do. He's on 33 drones. He's down an army supply. He's down tech. Blink is gonna be done soon. There are plentiful stalkers here. There's a disruptor on the map, which is very good against this composition that Reynor has, and he doesn't have a lot going for him. Not really. Disruptor is also not going to get a ton. But at this point, I think herO's also going to be cognizant that he doesn't want to throw this game like he did the previous one. So while he absolutely could probably end the game like this, it helps that he doesn't have blink, so he can't go and blink to his doom, which is really when it seems like the biggest problems for herO, where he kind of over blinks himself a little bit. Again, I think this game is, I don't think this game is over. This game is over. Reynor is trying to fight to do what he can, but at this point, it's 63 army slide at 36. The income is really good as well. So herO is going to take us to game number 5. But I do think that herO was just being a little bit more cautious after he threw that previous game. Why is this so hard? I don't rightly know, but apparently it is. Anyways, Site Delta is game 5. This is certainly an adept map. This is one of the, there's a reason that herO went, or that Reynor, that Reynor went and he did 15-15. He took his natural as quick as possible because, I mean, adept circulating here is, you got up a ramp, down a ramp, up a ramp. It is much harder for drones and lings to circulate than it is for adepts. So this is absolutely a map you want to get your natural down. But I also don't think we're going to see herO go and go for adepts on this map. I think he's done it one. We haven't seen him repeat a build yet. So if there ever was a map to do the standard thing of, 2 base, or not like 3 base, 4 base, +2 Blinkstalker for Colossus macro game, it would be this map, I think. Whether he goes for it, though, that's a different question. But I think this is absolutely a map to see him go for it again, because he's done everything, and now it's Time for him to throw in the kitchen sink. So for now, it's going to be a Stargate opener. This shouldn't surprise us really all that much. And I swear he was just asking to get Bane busted. This is wild to me. I understand why, in part because it does mean that he denies the kind of the free Ling Scout that happens if you go for a double gate cyber wall. But like, Reynor hasn't gone for it, but Reynor is a player that is not shy about going and doing this. He's not shy about Baneling busting if he thinks the opportunity is right. And I guess as this is a Stargate follow-up, you're gonna have oracles, and maybe by the time the Banelings are done, so you can kind of deal with it. I don't know, but man, all my instincts say putting a pylon in the wall like this is it's a cardinal sin. It's just unacceptable. But again, clearly herO knows better than I do. So for now, we're going to see Oracle fly into the main base. Oh, I like this as well. Oracles and the Adepts. This actually might get a... Oh, no, it's not. Not at all. There are Queens here. Oracle is just going to go down. Oh, well, okay. You know, I talked about this in game 1 about herO loves to pair his Oracles with his Adepts in the same base and different bases to really make complicated decisions for the Zerg player. And, well, this was not a complicated decision for the Zerg player. I mean, yes, 2 drones died, but the Oracle's dead, so it's totally fine. And this Adept should fall as well. Adept. Nope. Corners are not a Zerg's best friend. The corners are not a Zerg's friend. And yeah, like we saw another drone fall. Oh, actually, you know what? This is okay now. This is a little bit better. 6 dead drones. It's going to be 7. Oh, no, it's not. Nice transfuse there out of Reynor. So 6 dead drones for 2 Oracles, for 2 Adepts and an Oracle is like not great. But it's better than nothing. Now, 6 dead drones for 2 Adepts, but fantastic. Yeah, love that. But losing that Oracle is just such a problem. So, Forge, Twilight on the way. Additional gateways on the way. herO's on 4 gas. We saw him do this in game 1. It was a charge lot all in. Or charge lot... yeah, but it was he didn't have 4th. We're calling it an all in. He cheats on top of these lanes. herO, it's game 5. Don't go so YOLO. I don't really like this. He's going to lose everything. All the Adepts are dead. Oracle's in the main base. Maybe. But they're not targeted properly, and that's going to be a second dead Oracle. herO's played pretty well this series, and now he's just like, what is this? What is happening here, herO? Like, did you fall asleep? He's going to go for that charge lot build once again. To his credit, he's killed 12 drones. But that's about the only thing that's good for it. Like, he's lost 7 Adepts and 2 Oracle. That's just not worth it. Especially as that the success of that last build was very much built around this idea that he had 4 or 5 Oracles on the map, and he was sitting on top of the Lings and killing them off. So herO's going to go for this charge idea again, I guess, and he's just not going to have as much power to it. What a wild sequence of events. Like, man, it's been a pretty solid series, and herO's just doing this in game 5. It's just a wild sequence of events, especially considering this Oracle's going to go. It gets the stasis trap down. It doesn't do anything, and that's a 3rd dead Oracle in this game. I don't know what to say. herO's played... I mean, he made that big blunder in game 3 where he blinked on top of an army that he really shouldn't have. But in general, herO has been playing really nicely in this series. And now he's lost... What are we at? We're at 9 Adepts, 3 Oracles. What is happening here? He still's got a shot at getting something done because, he has killed... He's killed 13 drones, 19 Lings, and Overlord, but it's going to be a lot harder. It's going to be significantly harder for herO to do anything with this. And almost as importantly, herO, he showed this build earlier on, so Reynor's cottoned onto a little bit. He's got some idea about what's happening. He's building roaches. It's not just Lings. He's going to have +1, sure, which is nice. but he's building an even mix of roaches and lings, which means that this shouldn't get nearly as much done. It should not, certainly shouldn't kill, certainly shouldn't kill herO. Maybe the Archon drop does something, but for the moment, not really. Roaches and lings in the main base as well, so there's not really a lot of room to drop the Archons on this. herO is, or Reynor's exactly where he needs to be. Ling run by doesn't get a lot, and Ling run by on the 4th base also won't accomplish a ton. So there is that. As herO is starting to stabilize a little bit in this game, but it's starting to feel like a game that hero's going to have to take pretty late, because even that's 4. And yeah, Reynor's going to get supply blocked a little bit, but we can see the result of what's happening right now. Yeah, he's got to build more overlords, but Reynor's massively up in supply. He's going to continue to go up in supply. He's got infestation down, hive on the way if he wants to go for that. But honestly, I mean, what do we got here? 3 Archons, 2 Immortals. It's +1. A Roach Ravager, Ling Bane max. It's going to be hard for herO to stop. He's not going to have Blink for this. He's not going to have, well, he could have +2. I think +2 might be ready in time for the maxed out, but he's not going to have +1 armor. He's not going to have anything out of the Robo Bay. This is not an easy situation. Okay, Reynor killed a creep tumor. That's pretty fun. Ooh, that's a very damaged War Prism, but Mirror's going to be able to keep out of it. Plus, okay, so we're seeing again this 2-1-1 upgrade style where you get +2 and then you say, okay, shields are a little cheaper. Armor's a little cheaper. I'm not going to get into +3. I'm just going to build as cheap upgrades as possible to really support this timing, which is fair. And you know what? herO has been able to max out. He has been able to go and find himself a little bit further forward into the game. So like, at least the supply is not that bad. Blink is done pretty soon. He's got 2 Colossus on the way. You know, maybe this is going to be playable for herO. Now, again, Hive is done. Adrenal's done. But we don't have Vipers. Archons are continuing to knock creep spread down a little bit. herO's on 4 bases. He's got a decent upgrade count. Although, as I say that was 14 Zealots just died. That was about 20 army supply that just hit the deck. So we talked about herO doing a pretty good job of maxing out and like building an army that can maybe fight. Well, he just lost 20% of it. Really minimal gain, just Bailey's killing that. So not as good. But there are 2 Colossus on the map and 2 more are on the way. And well, extended thermal lance halfway done. Shields are going to be done soon. This is a macro build, by the way. This is 4 base. This is not a 3 base all in. But I think hero's going to be able to hit a timing pretty quickly. There is, of course, a Spire on the way. Absolutely. But that's not going to give us a greater... That's not going to give you the Broodlord timing just yet. Which is kind of the moment where this army that herO is making really starts to time out. So... This 4 Colossus timing, hero's going to be maxed out on it. He's going to have 2-1-1. He's going to have... What's the end? Stalker-wise. He's got 6 Stalkers. There are 2 Vipers. I feel like you want to go like 10 Stalkers really with the Vipers, but we'll see. This army that herO has is very strong for the game state. Reynor's got a lot of stuff on the way, but it's not ready just yet. In fact, he's dropping a ton of spines. He knows that this is a scary timing. Despite everything else going wrong, this might be what we look to see. So now, for now, we're going to see Vipers drop the... Oh, I love that. The Blinding Cloud is so good. The Colossus are just derping around. Here, you got a micro that's pull them back. Pull them back so they can fight. And finally, he does. But it's not great. That is a lot of the Protoss army going down. A lot of it getting hurt. And 104 Lings are on the way. And more Stalker. Actually, this is the problem. Stalkers were warped in on top of this. So... Yeah, Colossus are pretty good, but you need Zealots. We have 17 Banelings on the way. But you need a couple more Zealots to just beef line here for the Lings to make something happen. Now, Vipers have more energy, but the Colossus are still here. The Abducts were not successful for the first time, and herO has been trading... Well, despite trading pretty poorly early on, is trading just a little bit better. Can he punch through on this? That's the really big question. There's a timer, right? There's a Greater Spire on the way. There are, of course, Vipers. Oh, the Baneling flank. Oh, there's nothing. Oh, this is a problem. Banelings are going to get on top of everything, but actually it's not going to be that bad. All the Colossus are still alive, but the Abduct, though, canceled the Warp In, and that's actually just such a big deal. Oh, this is going to do it, actually. So I think if that Warp In goes down, I think herO might have actually had a realistic shot, but the fact that he only had one Warp Prism, so he couldn't really juggle Colossus, the fact that his Warp In got canceled by the Abduct, mean this is all dead. herO made a really good run of it. herO made a really solid run of it after losing 4 Oracles in his early game going horrendously wrong. But now that the Greater Spire is just about done and herO's at 117 supply, he's lacking tremendously in tech. He had too many Stalkers in the last fight, the previous fight, too many Zealots. He's going to try to stay in this, but he's literally down half the supply. And you got to figure Storm would have been so... I mean, I guess it's one of those things where you're just trying to really max out. But Storm would have been so awesome. Storm would have been really, really solid into that. And now, I think Reynor's just going to shove the door down at this point. There are so many banelings. Storm isn't done. Colossus getting microed backwards as well as he can. And herO's pretty good on that one. Feedback on the Viper. Second feedback, looking for it, but no, he's not going to find it. So the Colossus is dead, and that was like the one thing that herO had that was some opportunity of making something happen. Some opportunity of making something happen. It's just not gonna work out. Reynor's dead, or herO, excuse me, is dead. He's gonna fall down. 14 probes hit the deck, and at this point, herO's gonna fall down to the lower bracket, and herO has built himself a date with Reynor's built himself a date with Serral in the upper bracket finals. That Basilisk team kill. I mean, yeah, herO's in this game, but he's gonna have to hit the storms of a lifetime. He's gonna have to hit the best possible storms, and actually, I mean, even that, I don't think there's gonna be enough. It's 50 workers to 78. The army supply is actually somewhat comparable, in fairness. But that's not going to be true for all that much longer. And it's only true in part because it's a lot of Lings and a lot of Banes. So, can herO make a miracle happen? Can he do the craziest comeback? Can he pull off the craziest comeback that I have ever seen? Probably not, but it would be fun as he's got does this kill the Warp Prism? It might. That Parasitic Bomb, that's a very low Warp Prism, man. It will pop. Bye-bye. Now Stalker's actually gonna get on top of the Vipers. One will fall, second one not gonna get targeted down. Biles hit a ton of Zealots, and by the way, more probes died. Looks like a Banelings, I guess, ran into the third base at the same time. So herO's gonna try to hit some storms. There are no storms to be had. Banelings on top of all the Zealots. Biles are going to hit everything else. And yeah, herO kind of wins this first fight, but not really. You look at the supply. More Banelings are going to morph in. Now, yeah, it's all dead. It's all on the ground. herO's trying because this is game 5 and he doesn't want to go to the lower bracket, but there is absolutely nothing that he can do to win the game at this point. He has no mining at the third base. He has no army supply. He is dead. Reynor moves on to the upper bracket finals. Date with Serral.